Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about stay on this time situation. In the community earlier this morning, I posted two links, two short. Well, it's one video is like 5 minutes, the other one is like 10. Later on tonight, when I get home, I'm going to pull up the entire study that I did 3 years ago. It's still on my hard drive at home. I don't know who pulled her video off, but it's still up on YouTube. It's just people like me who are dissecting video. But I do have her video in the entirety where I was chopping it up, and I've been chopping up this video in a good way for years since it came out, and it's playing out right before us, right before our very eyes. Her dream is playing out. We see Donald Trump, and she said he was going to be elected the last president, and nuclear war followed him. And for whatever reason, there are people who just think they're going to have to endure through that. But again, I'm going to tell you that it is Bible illiteracy, because endure to the end is a double meaning. Charlie endured to the end of his life as a believer. Everybody knew, even my 20-year-old son, man, Pops, all he did was talk about Jesus. Okay. That's an example of enduring to the end. The Zionists took him out because he was calling out. I'm going to say it once again. And this news is trying to be whitewashed all over the internet. But a lot of us have the videos. He was online talking about Yahoo and his false October 7th flag, how he let it happen. And he pegged Epstein as Mossad. And they were running child XXXX traffic rings. And if you don't know this, see, and people don't know this stuff. And so you come up with all kind of bubblegum theories. And he was calling it out. 2 years ago, they busted them same Zionists in New York. People say, why you call them Zionists? That's what they call themselves. Again, come up out of under Hulu and Netflix and binge watching goofy shows so you can get you some education. So he was calling things out. They didn't like it. Anastasia J. Casey, the book that came out a day before, published 4 days before. That was the American Jewish Committee that sought out after him. They put Mossad agents in the crowd. New video shows them jokers jumping over the table and grabbing the explosive device that they had pinned to his chest. That's how they took out the folks in, I keep forgetting their name. I want to say, Ishmael. Let's just say Isaac and Ishmael. They was going after them, after the flag, and they was blowing up their cell phones and pagers. They did him the same way. Okay? So when we talk about what's going on, folks, it's all a matter of education. Do you know what's happening in the world? Okay? This little girl's dream, 5 years old, playing out right before us. Trump is threatening Putin and threatening him. You know how we was little and you drew the stick in and you drew the little line in the dirt, or you broke off a branch and put it on your shoulder, and the other person stood there before you, and y'all, well, I bet you won't, I bet you won't, and then y'all get to knocking each other's sticks off, and then now y'all standing there. This is what Biden and this is what, well, Biden couldn't do that. This is what Trump and Putin are doing. And then they get to punching each other in the shoulder. It didn't hurt. Yours didn't hurt either. Until one of them things hurt so bad it wipes out thousands. Thousands. Okay? We are looking at this prophetic dream. And then God told that girl outside of the dream, October 10th is going to be a big disaster. Okay? So I will put both links in the comment section. You can check the videos out. But later on tonight, I'm going to upload the full video that I did from three years ago. We have two different Trump blasts, as we said on the last video. Okay? There's the Trump blast of the harvest, and then there's a Trump blast at the end of tribulation. Those are two different Trump blasts. God himself, that's why the scriptures say God himself. And then at the end of tribulation, it says God will send his angels to blow the trump and gather us from heaven. And then in Mark, it says those from earth, which are the remnant of the woman that's hiding out in the wilderness of Judea. Now, they don't get to come up. Okay? They will enter into the new Jerusalem because the earth will have to be repopulated. If the only people that's surviving is the woman, which is Israel, somebody has to repopulate. And that's been the thing, that's been the theme all the way from Adam and Eve, since the time of Noah until now. All had to repopulate. And they will repopulate the earth. We can't do it if we're going to have heavenly bodies. We can't do that. It has to be a flesh. Flesh has to be reborn on this earth. And it will happen. Notice who it will happen through. It will happen through the woman. She was the one that started it off. And she's going to finish it off and take it into the new reign of Christ. Because when they come out of tribulation, they have to endure to the end. A lot of people didn't endure during the 40 years of the walk in the wilderness the first time. That's why they had to go through the wilderness, because there was people in their generation that were not right. Just like it will be this time. They're going to have to endure. Charlie endured to the end of his life as a believer. But those that endure to the end of tribulation will be blessed. And those are the remnant. That's the woman that's going to have to endure. And they will be protected, as the Bible says. And God will hide them from the face of Satan during the latter half of tribulation. Now let's get into Daniel. And let's talk about this. Thinking about changing the time. Okay. And 25 says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until times and the dividing of times. That is the tribulation, folks. He won't be able to change the time when tribulation starts. Okay? That is complete. This is what you see right here to happening today. Him changing the time and the laws. Has he not done that? Do we remember Barack and his Obama and his husband getting into the White House and turning on the rainbow lights of the alphabetical order? Joan Rivers paid with her life for telling the truth about Obama and his husband. And then when that happened, they started changing laws in these people's favors. Aren't they still trying to argue about keeping daylight savings time? How many, the Roman, and I'm going to look it up online. The Roman government started this changing of the time. We know that, hey, at one time it was 13 months in the system. And then that was changed. So it makes no sense for believers to be going at it about, I use this kind, I use this, we shouldn't be, will you, the rage. All of y'all turning into Incredible Hulk, going at each other. You're feeding right into the hand of the enemy. He is the author of confusion. That is the reason why he changed the time and the laws, to keep people dumb down, milk toast, jelly bean, wheat noodle back servants of God. Okay? But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom of and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and in all dominions shall serve and obey him. This is after, when you get into the millennial reign of Christ. But you think to change the time. It's what he's been doing. Let's go look online and see how many times the times have been changed. Whew. This is crazy. I'm telling you, man. Crazy. Let's see here. Let me go back and show you. How many systems do we have? We have a lot of systems, folks. And, hold on, let's pause real quick. Look at all these calendars. We had 13 months at one time. And now we went from the Julian Caesar, the Julian calendar, to the Roman calendar, to the intercalary calendar, the lunar versus the solar alignment, The Julian pops up the most, but it was changed. Okay. The solar year alignment, Pope George and his alphabet numbers, the Julian calendar was later refined into the Gregorian, the heathen calendar, in 1582. Whew. To think to change the time and the law. Okay. Other calendar systems. Hebrew calendar, a lunar system, which is a lunar calendar that adds an extra month. Golly, man. You added an extra month. The Mayan calendar. The Chinese calendar. Oh my goodness. How do we know what we're using? How? And you can't be a smart aleck and say, well, I do it. What does Genesis 1 and 14 told us? God told us to use the sun, moon, and the stars. That should be a solar calendar. The most significant calendar change is shifted in 1582 to the Julian calendar and then to the Gregorian calendar, which corrected a gradual drift by omitting 10 days. And I said myself, and I've been saying this for years and years and years and years, since I've been on here. All of these, but I've been really saying it lately, all of them are within a week to 2 weeks of each other. But when you start removing days and adding days and removing months, how do we, this is the reason why I say we don't need to be out here arguing and fist banging with each other about the dates and the calendars and the times, because it's been changed so many times, folks. It is also the reason why people don't know. That's a part of changing it. But the Most High said, if we are to walk with his spirit and use his spirit to search all things and know all things, he should lead us into all truth, folks. This should not be where we're going at each other when we know the time has been changed by man, inspired by Satan. He was the reason why man created government, to go against the eternal. Okay? Inspired by the number 13, which is rebellion, folks. The time has been changed so much. We got different calendars that many people use. Again, the Sugar Smacks calendar, the Captain Crunch calendar, the Kobe cheese calendar, cottage cheese calendar, okay, macadamia calendar, the Gatorade calendar. Whatever you want, the Roman noodle calendar with the shrimp and the beef pack calendar. Too many. But by faith, we see the hour fast approaching, because we see the times and where we are in the beginning of the days of sorrow. Look up, for your redemption draws nigh. Okay? Now, let me get in here to... And I'm going to end the video on this, folks. We ain't got no business arguing with one another about this and that. This calendar. We all in error. Because we still using a pagan system that God said not to use. But we still using it. So that don't make you no better than nobody else. When you still woke up and making your plan, your doctor's visits, your appointments based off a heathen Gregorian calendar. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide from day and night, the sun and the moon, and let them be signs, the stars in heaven, which are angels. But we do know that some of them stars are comets, and we see in Revelation that where they will come down and strike the earth and cause the water to be bad, nobody can drink it. But the 7 stars are the 7 angels are of the 7 churches we see in our solar system right now, including 3-Eye Atlas, which means God, or Elah. And then he said, for seasons, and for days, and for years. That's the calendar, folks. The sun and the moon are the calendar. Yes, the new moon should start the new month. But there's so many moon calendars. There's so many fried chicken calendars. We got spaghetti calendars. We got this new moon of the... it's just... If we would have just stuck with Genesis 1 and 14, we wouldn't be having this problem, folks. Let them be for the lights in the firmament of the heaven, and to give light upon the earth, and it was so. Go back to 14 again. What? God said, let the lights in the firmament of heaven divide day and night. Let them be for signs, blood moons and eclipses. And then what did he say after? And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Where did he say January, February, March, April? Those are all pagan names of deities, of God deities, deity gods, lowercase gods. He said we're supposed to be using the sun and the moon to know what day it is, to know what year it is. He didn't say, I didn't give you those pagan months to you. So we went a whoring out from under God to use this pagan system, folks. And we are off. Satan is the reason why everybody, I'm in a rage. Brother, I'm hawked up. You're using the wrong thing. I'm right and you're wrong, brother. My time is right. And then that you wrong too. We all wrong. Because we have not been using what God told us to use. And then therefore that inspires that goofy talk. Don't know, man, don't know. Let's get back to the sun and the moon. That's the calendar. So, in your opinion, what's the closest? Because everything that I've showed has been added. The Hebrew has taken away and added. All of these different systems that all of y'all say we should be using, they've all been redone by man. And we don't know, if you look at it that way, you don't know what hour it is based on man. But if Holy Ghost is telling you how to find time, then you should be knowing what the hour is if you're watching. Okay? To think to change the time and the law, he has successfully done that, and he won't be able to do it when tribulation starts, folks, because time will be out of his control. But man has changed the time from the Roman government down to now. Caesar has changed it. Constantine, all of these jokers have changed the time to confuse. And nobody's using God's system. They've all just ran and did their own thing. And now because everybody's doing their own thing over the centuries, now we got mass confusion about what is what. So when Brother Joshua was told Feast of Trumpets, he was using a pagan system. That's not, you could say, if we were studied, then there would be a correct calendar to use to know that September 23rd, this is where God says, I hate your feast dates, and I'm going to turn them into mourning. That's what God meant. This is the reason why he's meant that. On the 23rd of September, that skull came up off a solar flare from the sun that I showed. On that day, they made Palestine a nation and recognized them as a nation within the walls of the land of Jerusalem. And God said, Job chapter 3, do not do that. And if you do, prepare for war. Look at what we got now. We are at the brink of nuclear war with Russia. Israel talking about they're gonna get with Jackie Chan. He said, I dare you. I'm going to send 1,000 Bruce Lees on you. But God will protect Israel. Even though they're the smallest ones, even though they're doing things he don't want, he's still going to protect them. So we are at the prophetic right now. Wars, rumors of wars, sickness, disease, famine, that's happening, and earthquakes in diverse and many places. We still in the hour, folks. Stay hopeful and stay blessed and prayed up. Be back on another one.